Hey guys, Dr. Nordberg here again. John and I have been outside this afternoon getting gear organized for deer camp. We'll be going up there in a little over a week, and finally, kind of excited about that. And I think we're going to have a little bit of hunting season than we've had in about 4 or 5 years now. So I'm looking forward to it. Well, last time I saw you, we were talking about some things like things you should need to know to be really good at hunting older bucks especially, and then other deer. And one of them we talked about was identifying deer from deer signs, from, tracks, droppings, beds, and that sort of thing, and identifying feeding areas and all that. So then I said, well, that kind of information doesn't do you any good if you spend all your time sneaking somewhere. Like, say, for example, here's this ridge out in the woods, and this year, up where we hunt, if that ridge is all covered with red oaks, then the ground is covered with acorns, and there's going to be deer feeding there opening morning. Maybe lots of them. But boy, are they going to, there's almost 100% certain there's going to be deer. Well, acorns are not a deer sign, but they sure are when you got a lot of them on the ground, because deer love acorns. Well, anyway, and then when you get in there, you find lots of droppings all spread around. These are things that are identifying the feeding area, droppings and tracks going this way and that, different sized tracks and that kind of thing, droppings of different sizes. And from little 1/4-inch fawns to 1-inch big bucks, deer like that. Well, how do you get there without chasing all the deer out of there before you get a chance to hunt there? Well, that's the problem all hunters have had, and forever and ever and ever hunters always thought, well, you got to be really good at sneaking in there. You just take a few steps and stop and look around and keep taking steps like that. That's horrible, because there's no way you're going to be able to sneak up to that thing without some deer in there seeing you, because their eyes are so motion sensitive. There's going to be deer, and if one sees you, and especially if you're sneaking and stopping and peeking out there, looking to see if there's any deer around there, acting like that, they know you're hunting, you're dangerous. It'll snarp, and pretty soon the whole ridge is empty of deer. And they might stay that way the rest of the hunting. Let's say now you know that after you're scouting and you find this ridge up here full of red oaks, and there's acorns all over the ground and tracks of various sizes from maybe 2 1/4 to 4 inches in length, big buck at 4 inches, and they're wandering all over here and they're eating these acorns, and you think, I can't wait till opening morning, boy, I'm going to get a buck there. Well, now, you've learned a lot just from that little bit, how to figure out what kind of deer make the tracks and droppings and things of that sort, so you can identify them. You can know there's been a big buck feeding on that ridge and eating those acorns. That's probably kind of an exciting thing to know. And there's enough acorns there, they're going to be there this coming weekend, at least up where we hunt, red oak acorns. But how do you get there now? That's the next problem that I was going to talk to you about, and I don't have a lot of time. I got to run to a store and get some special things for our tent, our big ones, our 20-footer, before I get home today. So me and the dog got to get going pretty soon. But anyway, so how do you get there? Let's say the wind's blowing. There's a wind arrow blowing this thing opening morning. And you and just about everybody else in the United States, if they knew about something like this, they were thinking the same thing. Sneak. You got to be really careful about getting up there. That is so awful. It's logical, but it's awful, because there is nobody, I'm talking none of you, not even me, I can't just sneak close enough to one of those to get a big buck. Some deer in there or maybe if there's only one there, but their eyes are really motion sensitive. And if they spot motion over there and they say, whoa, what is that over there? And they see me sneaking, they'll sneak a little bit and then stop and look around and like, so right away you've labeled yourself as dangerous. Oh, I got to get out of here. There's a hunter coming this way and he's hunting. He's looking for a deer to kill. So the worst thing you do is sneak. Now wolves have known that for 10,000 years. And the way they get close to deer, when they, in a situation like that, is pretend they're not hunting. They don't sneak. They'll start walking. Let's say there's a trail going here, and they'll start walking, but they're moving into the wind or crosswind. Maybe they can come this way, crosswind. And one thing for sure, they won't be smelled. That's a good thing. They might not even be heard because they're light-footed and they can move very quietly through the woods. But they can't keep from being seen moving. Well, one way they know to make sure that those deer aren't going to move out of there, instead of sneaking straight toward them, they're going to walk by like this, and maybe they decide that there's a place that like here that like there's a lot of brush and that kind of thing, really heavy cover in there. And the only way they can get close to those deer is to get to this spot where they're really going to be well covered, where they're hidden when they're trying to get closer. So, but as long as they're visible, they're thinking, well, there's some deer right there, and they're watching. They move straight without stopping. They don't sneak. They walk, the wolf pack will be a long single file of wolves moving single file, and they're marching right along with their heads pointed straight ahead. Steady stride on a trail that doesn't lead to where the deer are, so the deer, they're thinking, well, they're just passing, don't have to worry about it. Well, that's the sort of thing you got to be thinking of. When you're picking up stand site, especially in that last 100 yards, you want to pick a spot where you can get close without being seen. And there are places like that, really thick cover, lots of brush, maybe evergreens, thick as can be, a little bit of bitty trail going through there. But at any rate, wherever you are in the open, where you might be seen by any deer on that ridge, or big, long ridge, maybe 3-4 blocks long, you're going to be seen. And if you're getting closer to where they are, they're going to be really worried about you, unless you can convince them you're not hunting. And the way to get close, like, let's say, I'm going to go to my stand site. Well, from here to 100 yards away from the stand site, there's a place where cover is especially dense, where I can get close to that ridge without the deer being seen. But until I get there, I could be seen by all kinds of deer getting to that place where I can get into this thick cover and get closer. And there maybe do some sneaking, but otherwise, all this way you're going out there, whether it's dark or light, remember deer can see as well at night as in that daytime. When they rather than pretend you're hunting all the way out there, which you really aren't when you're going out there in the dark, well, even at daytime, do what the wolves do. Walk straight along a trail that doesn't head toward them. If you're going straight on one that goes right toward them, that wouldn't be good. But if you're going parallel to them till you get to a place where you can finally be well covered, and when getting close to that ridge, then you're back in business. But meanwhile, all the way from your truck or to your camp, you walk like wolves do. When they're hunting, but when they don't want deer to think they're hunting, they just walk straight along, heads pointed straight ahead, not interested at all in trying to find deer. And that's what you got to do too. Just the opposite of what you think. A lot of guys imagine, there's no way you can get close to a place like that, or your stand site over there, walking like that without looking around. You might walk by a lot of deer you can shoot and things like that. It's so hard to do this because you're thinking, maybe I'm passing up a big one, right? You're just standing over there, you stop and you look and, you killed it. When those deer are in that inside, you do that, you killed your chance to get close to this area without alarming those deer. And there's a lot of guys say it just can't be done. And maybe if they tried it and they couldn't be done, they're about halfway there and all of a sudden snort, and the deer are all running away. So it can't be done. Well, that doesn't mean everybody's in the same boat. There are guys I know that could never do this. Walk like this, like a wolf, pretending not to be hunting and get away with it. They just can't do it because they're going to stop and look every time. And then they'll sneak. Oh, so this isn't going to work. I got to sneak. Then you start doing those things, you're not going to get there. You got to, from now on, forever, when you're hunting white-tailed deer, until you're getting close to where you're planning to stand hunt, walk like a wolf pretending not to hunt. Just go straight ahead, don't look around. You start looking around, you're looking for deer. You don't want to do that. You just go straight to the spot and find, oh boy, now I'm here. Haven't heard any snorting, nothing, kind of quiet. Oh, this is good. Well, some of those deer might have heard your footsteps, even if they just heard them, because they're steady. They're not taking 2 steps and then stopping. There's this eerie silence between these few footsteps and then some more. That's the same thing as seeing you stopping up and then looking around and sneaking, because they can hear you doing that as well. If your footsteps are heavy or on crunchy snow or dry leaves or whatever. But if they're steady, just keeps going like that, that's different. Then they aren't alarmed by the sound of your footsteps. Anyway, until they maybe turn here from this point on, if you cleaned up your trail to your stand site, they say it's right here in a tree, you clean this up so you can walk through there without stepping on branches every few feet, snapping branches, things like that, and you aren't brushing up against branches all over the place while you're getting in there as well. And you're really well covered ahead of you by a dense cover. But even then, even if you're really well covered, walk steady but quietly, lightly. Put your feet down lightly, bend your knees, pick them up, put them down. Just keep going until you get there. Now you're in business. But all this stuff you learned about how to identify deer does you no good unless you can take advantage of it. The only way you can take advantage of it is to get close to those deer. And I tell you, I've been trying to figure this out for how many years now? 78 years. The only way I know you can get close to deer, even the biggest bucks in the woods, without them realizing you're dangerous, is to use that Wolf Ruse. And the wolves have been doing it. There probably wouldn't be wolves in North America today if they hadn't learned how to do this. But they did, and it works for them, and it'll work for you as well. Now with that, I gotta get to the store and get something for my tent. I gotta get going. But best of luck, you guys. Now, next time I talk to you, I'll probably be in the woods, or in my big tent up there in the woods. And hopefully I'll be able to brag a little bit. I know we're going to get some bucks this year. I'll bet we'll get at least 3, maybe 4 this year, mature bucks this year. So that's better than before. So with that, best of luck, guys. And before you go, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's good for you, and it's good for me especially. I wish you'd do that. And also hit that thumbs up button, would you too? And with that, YouTube is going to be really pleased with me and want to do all kinds of things for me to help me sell more books. But anyway, other than that, what I'm here primarily for is to teach you how to be a better hunter, and especially one that takes big bucks pretty regularly. So it's kind of fun doing that. So again, good luck, you guys, and I'll see you again soon. Be sure to visit my website. Here's the link. Here you'll find links to my blog posts, my Twitter account, my YouTube account, my Amazon store with links to my ebooks, my son's eBay store, a money saver if you're ordering from Canada or other countries, my website bookstore, and much more.